Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk to you guys about a game that has been doing some really great things lately. Let's talk about Hell Let Loose. It's a large-scale, realistic tactical shooter set in the World War II era, and it's a game that aims to replicate many of the large-scale battles that took place during the tragic and gritty conflicts of World War II. With large, open maps and plenty of room for brutal carnage perpetrated by all kinds of weapons and machines of war, this is probably one of the most engrossing and immersive experiences out there. It is indeed a work of art. Now, with that being said, it is far from perfect and still quite unfinished. Yet, out of the rubble of the mediocrity of other games that aren't bad but failed to grab the attention of their audience again and again, and even the previous and debatably continuing lackluster state of itself, it has risen to a level of popularity and exposure far too large to continue to ignore it because of its most glaring issues. So what made Hell Let Loose jump from being a game battling its competitors to maintain a player base to receiving almost an instant explosion in its player numbers and content pool covering it? One might think it was the most recent update, Update 7, which massively overhauled many aspects of the game where it lacked the most. Many might also think it's a combination of that and the free weekend that took place immediately after Update 7. However, there is more to the story of the recent success of this World War II shooter. Now, to get to the bottom of what exactly led to the prosperous state of Hell Let Loose, let's dive into where it was before it suddenly set itself apart. So, this has been a beautiful game since its release into alpha in the spring of 2018. Yet, for many, myself included, its beauty was heavily overshadowed by a lack of features and terrible optimization, which was to be expected at that time. However, 2 years later, this is a game that still struggles with the same fatal flaw that the dev team, to this day, has been unable to understand, let alone fix. That is, in fact, its optimization. With no rhyme or reason, many prospective players eager to join the fight and partake in gritty, hardcore World War II combat have been utterly and completely halted from doing so, as many of them, even having high-end PCs, still have not been able to properly run Hell Let Loose at an acceptable standard that would allow for the enjoyment of what the game has to offer. I have been one of those players again for over 2 years, and up until the hotfix that followed Update 7, my 2080 Super and R9 3900X could not even achieve a viable performance in game. Still, I have watched intently the development of this shooter progress, and more recently, the entirety of the player base observed as it turned from a pretty but inherently flawed game with huge optimization issues, innumerable bugs, questionable map design, and the worst, most immersive breaking garbage weapon sounds in the genre, to a game that does in fact set itself apart with the immersiveness that this new update has brought it. Not to mention the fact that I can finally run the game. The new animations, from vaulting fences to reloading every weapon system in the game, is one of the biggest night and day improvements I have seen in the development of a game in quite a long time. Hell Let Loose has gone from a game with clunky, ugly, and buggy animations to one with silky smooth, sexy animations that are just damn hard to turn away from. And now it's a game you go into an empty lobby in just for a photo shoot. Both the first and third person animations are at a standard that most games can only dream about ever reaching. Couple this with the completely overhauled sounds, in which instead of hearing a hollow pop sound from the weapons as you shoot them, you now feel the weight of each shot as you squeeze the trigger, and you have the moment of surprise from the boom that follows the projectile leaving your barrel. I would even venture to say that there might be just a little too much bass to the sounds now, but either way, they definitely get the point across that you're sending rounds down range. Another important improvement was the overhaul of some maps, as well as a new map, Carrington, which finally delivers a more close quarters urban environment that the player base has desired for a long time. Now, all of these things are fantastic, and they enable the success of the game in a way, But the main reason for such an immediate growth in popularity is how easy the game is to learn, because it's less of a sim and it puts more focus on the actual combat mechanics of the game, rather than tedious fob building and preparation that is hugely vital in games like Squad and Postscriptum. With more power given to individuals, many players have actually been able to pick up the game as a gateway drug into the genre of realistic tactical shooters, or milsims. It removes the difficulty of many of the team-based mechanics of its competitors, and because of this, when Black Matter released Update 7 along with the free weekend, Hell Let Loose picked up quite a bit of steam really fast, as it can unite the milsim player with the Battlefield player, appealing to a much larger audience than its more niche counterparts in the genre. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a huge step forward for this title, and frankly, even though I've been extremely agitated with it in the past, and I think many of these things should have been fixed previously, I still have to admit that this definitely moves the game in the right direction, and I'm very excited for the future of this title, so you can certainly expect plenty of Hell Let Loose content from me in the future. Alright, ladies and gents, that's going to be all from me for this one. If you liked this video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to stay updated on my content. It helps me out and I really do appreciate it. It's UncleSamsDevil here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.